We all assign ourselves a value in the marketplace, a value to others, a value to the world, and a value to ourselves. And usually we've never even looked at or thought about what we're worth in all of these contexts. Well, in this episode, we'll peek into our worth and adjust it upward as needed in any and all of these areas. So prepare to feel better about yourself and your life, better than you felt in a long time, as we look into how to grow your inner worth practically overnight. Flow dreaming, still kinda woo-woo, is just what it sounds like. An escape into the world of woo. Also, a ride into you and how to feel happier, wiser, and more self-aware in every way. It's your ultimate journey into personal growth and inner power. We'll explore ideas like how your energy self influences the kinds of opportunities you encounter, or how your personal growth can drive your business growth, or even how that feeling of being stuck is really always coming from something else. We just have to figure out what. That's right, we're a dash of woo-woo, a sprinkle of self-care, a heap of problem-solving and pattern-busting, and a giant cup of encouragement. We're going to relight so much passion, purpose, self-love, and confidence in you that you practically stagger. I'm Summer McStravick, your host, and welcome to Flow Dreaming, still kinda woo-woo. Welcome to Flow Dreaming, my friends. As just said, I am Summer McStravick. Happy to be with you. I am a coach. I am an intuitive, a medium, and also the pioneer of a technique and concept called flow dreaming that's been around now since the year 2000. If you're curious, just look me up, flowdreaming.com. I've got a couple of books out. And of course, we have now 720 episodes of this very podcast, Flow Dreaming, or Flow Dreaming Still Kinda Woo-Woo. In fact, the first 10 seasons, 10 years, can be found on Apple iTunes for a very reasonable archive fee of $2.99. So if you really want to go back and follow this journey, there is some great information back there, including tons and tons of flow dreams when I used to do them just about every single episode. But these days, I'm just going to throw them in, kind of spice things up, remind you guys this is what we're here for and what we do, even though my travels today take me on many more explorations into who you are, how you can grow, and how you can level up yourself. I am particularly obsessed with things like how to grow our worth, how to grow our value, how to allow ourselves to explore and reinvent, and generally how our mind works, what our mindset and our energy is saying to life and the world around us, minute by minute, day by day. This month, I've been leading lots of my students through a process of inner worth and inner growth as we've been programming our future selves. Another big passion of mine as I explain what your energy blueprints are, how we affect them, impact them, and in fact, program them. Maybe I should even do a new episode on that because I teach on it a lot, but I don't know if I've done so here in quite a while. But anyway, keeping that in mind, I thought it would be fun to give our own inner worth a bit of a spit shine today. Ooh, that's kind of a weird old phrase to use. I don't know where these things come from. What I'm trying to say is we're going to assess our worth and just notice if it can be grown, if it can be unleashed, if maybe it's been prematurely capped, if maybe it's time to reevaluate what our value really is to ourselves and to the world. Now, This episode is piggybacking on the last episode, 719, 4 signs you're disconnected from your power and how to get it back. And what I mean by piggybacking is we kind of touched on this, but I wanted to go deeper with you. So let's take a look at this, and then I'm going to give you some other valuable resources, including my Flow Dreaming Mastermind, which I know I keep mentioning, but I'm so excited. It's brand new, and it's sort of an all-you-can-eat luncheon buffet of all my Flow Dreaming courses, which I think is just the best way to get started if you're passionate about reinvention and manifesting in particular, and crafting the future you. So let's look into this idea of value, right? We all have assigned ourselves a value. The value that we think we are worth to our jobs, right? To the world. And that's probably the first thing that pops up, because that kind of value actually has a monetary tag attached to it. A little price tag dangles off each one of us. How much do we cost? And we've often allowed the outside world to determine that value. In other words, if we've only had a job that ever paid $70,000, then our objective value to ourselves is $70,000, because that's what the outside world told us. And it kind of makes sense, but it also kind of doesn't. Because who is this outside world to say that? Is it some supremely intelligent thing? No, it's just a bunch of stuff. People and businesses and humanity and a bit of luck and circumstances and every now and then some divine guidance. And we ended up at some kind of random number. Yet we internalize that and we say, well, that's my value. I want you to ask yourself, is it? Is it? Or is it just kind of what you bumped into? You just kind of lucked into it or bumped into it. I know people who make $500,000 a year and they lucked into it. They were born into it. I know people who make $24,000 a year who are worth so much more. The outside value that the world assigns to you and your inner value can often be quite different. And the first thing I want us to do is sort of break that relationship. Just snap it in half. Play with me through this episode. Just do this exercise. Snap it in half. They're no longer related. You say, but then how do I get the world to value me differently? The beginning of new value and growing your value isn't whatever job will potentially give you more. That is often arbitrary. And in the world of flow dreaming, yes, I'm going to say caveat, arbitrary and alignment. There's a real distinction. I could go deep into it, but that's a rabbit hole. Let's just say right now, a shuffling of things have come up and you matched one of them. How did you match that latest value? What do you bet? It matched something in you. You would never have taken that job if it hadn't matched a need in you. And when that need was filled, maybe just to pay your rent, right? Pay your mortgage. When that need was filled, maybe that value started to sort of seep in. Maybe it wasn't really your value. It was a temporary value, but then it became a kind of permanent value. This doesn't apply to just jobs and monetary distinctions. We have this sense of what the outside world values us as, or the degree or amount, in all different ways. The outside world, does it value your talent? Does it even know your real talent? Do you have talents that the outside world hasn't valued at all? Maybe the outside world is your kids or your family or your friends, and how much you love and adore them, how much you give, how much you're there for them, how you've been so instrumental in helping these people grow into good human beings. Nobody paid you for that. You did it. Your value is uncountable. The outside world values you in terms of how it sees you, right? How you feel it sees you. If you feel that you are coming across as your personal best. You love the way you look. You love the way you feel. You love the way you're interacting with the world. You might feel that the outside world sees you pretty highly. On the other hand, if you're saying things to yourself like, I'm not fit, I don't like how I look, I don't really want to be seen, I'm feeling, really down, I don't feel like myself, you might be thinking the outside world doesn't see me or recognize me. It's not seeing me very well. So I'm asking you to play with this thought that you have an impression right now about all these different ways the world sees you. And what price tag or other kind of value it assigns to you. Interesting, huh? We never really think about that. And a lot of the assignments that you've made might be, oh my goodness, quite wrong. There are very few of us who have overvalued ourselves in the outside world. By far, the majority of us undervalue ourselves. Every now and then you'll meet somebody and you'll say they're really full of themselves. They think they're the cat's meow or whatever, and they are not. And the thing is, we don't really know if they feel that way or if they're putting it on. But we see far more people. You know them. I know them. Maybe it's us. Maybe it's you and me who are instead on the opposite side. They don't value themselves enough. God, what they could be doing right now with their skills, with their talent, with their energy level. Wow. It's easy to think about a few people we know like that. Well, I want you to think about yourself like that. We're going to start by looking at our external worth, our monetary worth. Why am I starting with something as crude and baseline as money? Well, I tell you, in my world of flow dreaming and manifesting, I don't see money as crude or baseline. We need material resources to thrive in this world. Unless you've joined some kind of spiritual order where you don't require those resources because they're being provided for you, pretty much every single one of us has to have something that we bring in every month to pay our bills. So it forms the kind of bottom of the hierarchy of getting our needs met, right? You've heard of Maslow's hierarchy. Well, we're getting our needs met by having material resources pour in. So we tend to value ourselves from that point forward. When you ask the world for more material resources, in other words, money or some other form of it, bartering, sharing, being cared for, having someone else help you and supply what you need. When you're asking the world for this, what you're really saying is, there are things that I want to do or become, that I want to share or give to my family, or give back to the world in the case of philanthropy. There are things that I want to do, share, or give. And I need a certain amount of material abundance for that. Period. That's it. Notice how I didn't say anything about you've got to be a genius, you've got to be super skilled, you've got to be a hard worker, you've got to be all these things. Nope. That's not what I'm saying to the universe from day one, from the ground up. What I'm saying is, for me to give back, for me to express, for me to support, here is what I require. Now, we're setting a whole different tone here for how we interact with the days ahead, the opportunities that roll in, and so forth. We're not reaching for necessarily a materialistic number, although it's tempting. Right? We kind of have an idea, like 100,000, that would be about right. 50,000, 200,000, I don't know. These are US dollars, so transcribe it into whatever your own currency is. But we all have a definitive level where we would just sigh with relief and say, if I had that, then I could do all these other things. I could be all these other ways. Okay. You have attached to that number a feeling. And call these your emotional endpoints. What is that feeling? I just sort of described it. Peace, a sense of relief, a sense of I don't have to worry about this anymore ever again, a sense of I finally made it, I finally reached success, a sense of this won't ever be taken away from me, I am deeply, deeply secure, a sense of I have freedom now, I have choices, my wrists aren't bound to this one thing I've been doing. What are those feelings that kind of security that money would give you? This now is what I want you to start thinking about in terms of value. Follow me through this. The value isn't the number that you just gave. The value is the fact that you feel this way, and the world values you enough that it will support you in kind. Support you in kind. That's even more potent than putting a dollar sign out there. Supporting you in kind means you're so full of value. You're so full of this radiant abundance of giving to the world and being important in the world and doing something of great necessity in the world. You're so full of that we have to align to you. Opportunities and new directions have to show up to align to that. Opportunities that match you in kind. Now, what do I mean by that? We often pick these very narrow avenues for life to prove that we're valuable to us. In other words, the paycheck, right? Start with that one again. Or whether or not we're recognized for our achievements, our accomplishments. Did anybody give us a prize last year? Does everybody in our family think we're wonderful? Right? We tend to build up our value based on what other people are thinking and how they have or haven't shown or expressed that. The thing is, most people are so busy trying to get their own value needs met that giving you your value needs, reflecting back to you is sort of secondary or third or way down the list. So we're not always getting that feedback that we're hoping for and pining for because we're all trying to receive without necessarily giving. We're going to switch that up a little bit, though. When I say the universe will give back in kind, what I'm actually asking for is let me give you an example. You guys know that I've grown my company, Flow Dreaming, right? It's become a multi-million-dollar company. I began it in 2004. I worked it very part-time until around 2010. The last 14 years, I've really devoted myself to it. And one of the guiding lights behind my work is I want as many people to know about this process as possible. I want to help as many people as I possibly can. I've seen thousands of people pivot. I've reached into them, used my mediumship, my intuition, my ability to go into flow, and I have helped people's lives vastly change and pivot. Right? Like the little energetic fingers of me. That's weird, but have reached into multiple people's lives over multiple years. Many of my students I've worked with for 10 years now privately or more. And the results have been going big, earning huge paychecks, being vested into companies, retiring out, falling in love, getting married, having babies. I mean, just amazing stuff. So what I've been able to see over the years is what I give out to the world has yielded result after result after result. I see it. Those other people aren't giving me that value. They're not like, oh, thank you, Summer. I mean, sometimes, of course, people are grateful. But I'm the one looking and saying, gosh, I really feel my value. I feel really good about this. So I'm starting with that feeling. I want to keep doing things that make me feel like I feel great about this. Let's say, though, that you don't have your own company. Let's say you volunteer at the Humane Society and you have directly impacted the adoption of 472 beautiful little furries and lizardies and featheries over the years. You have given great value. You have provided homes, lifetimes to these animals. Do you feel the value inside yourself for that? And maybe you didn't get paid a single penny, but you created tremendous value. Now, what happens is what you're creating in yourself, the universe is reflecting back. Okay? It's a mirror. Life around you is just one big giant circular mirror. You're the object in the middle. You're like the sun, and life around you are the planets swirling around you. And we're all that way. And it's a blessed way to be, because it means that anything you do inside yourself, the world responds to, the world reflects back. And the value of the things it gives you changes to match you in kind. Maybe this person who's gotten, what did I say, 472 animals adopted? Something like that, right? Maybe the value that the world is reflecting back in kind is saying, look, we're going to support you in that. We feel you. We see you. And you are going to have the ability to keep doing that. And here is how. And something walks into your life. Maybe you're hired to actually do that job on a higher level. Maybe you find a partner who says, you don't have to work. I've got enough for both of us. Maybe there is an inheritance. And I don't mean that someone has to pass on necessarily. I have had flow dreamers receive inheritances from people they did not even know anonymously. It is ridiculous what can happen when the universe starts to match you in kind. Maybe because your value has gone up so much inside yourself, you're able to go out and apply for something that will, in fact, pay you a great deal more because you're recognizing, darn, I'm really worth that. I'm really good at that. Those of us who shift careers late in life, I was talking just a couple of days ago with a lovely gal I met for the first time, and she was a chemist, and she basically said, I have just completed my molecular biology degree, and I am 52 years old, and I cannot wait to get started. And she was saying, look, if you want to do it now. What's your value? She approached it from that perspective of her value in the world was, I'm great at biology and chemistry, and the world is going to want me, and I'm going to be able to do this. And you know what? I bet her income is going to skyrocket as a result, because her own inner sense of self and value also grew. Okay, you're saying, great, that's a good pep talk. Now what? How do I do it myself? How do I begin doing that? I want you right now to start pinpointing something in your mind, something in your heart where you feel like that's really worth something. That is worth something. And maybe you're getting paid for it already. Maybe you aren't. Do you want to get paid for it? Yes or no? Like I said, you don't have to. You could just say in kind. If you want to get paid for it, what would be a nice number to be paid? What would that be? What is something on the upper end of realistic for you? Not something crazy ridiculous where a part of you is like, sure, that'd be awesome. Because built into that emotion, built into that flow, that communication with the universe is a simultaneous sense of that would be awesome, but it would never happen. And we don't want that kind of energy conflict. So I want the upper end of realistic. What would that be? If everything went totally right. Everything went totally right. Got that feeling? Great. That's now your new worth. That's it. I say, but Summer, life isn't giving me that yet. Doesn't matter. Until you start owning that, until you start valuing yourself and seeing yourself as that, life won't know to give you that. It'll keep matching whatever value you've truly settled on previously. Because that's what it's been hearing from you. It's been directly reflecting that. Let's change it. That's your new value. Write down that number, write down that value equation, whatever it looks like, value in kind, and tape it to your mirror. This exercise is not meant to make you feel less than, by the way. It's not meant to make you feel like, yeah, that's my value, but I'm not getting it. If you dive into those feelings, you got to pull back from those. Go listen to some of my episodes about lack thinking, because those lack thoughts are ready to pull you right back down again. I want you to see the actual value that you're worth. I'm going to do the same exercise, frankly, as we head into this year. It's a good exercise to do periodically in our lives because we have to assess it. We're so used to our jobs giving us raises and bonuses, and that becomes what our value is. Outside stuff telling us. But really, we need to be telling the outside stuff, because that's how the outside stuff can really change and shift to reflect more of who we are. So if you want to apply some of our flow dreaming to that, if you guys don't know what flow dreaming is, please download my app or go to my website, flowdreaming.com. I explain the process. It's a beautiful, gorgeous, energetic, emotional technique. It is not meditation. It's not self-hypnosis. It's more like an energy activation where we reprogram our emotional selves, our energetic selves, and we get in deep, profound, and constant communication with our futures and, frankly, the universe or your higher power. So if you want to use the technique, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it, then I'm going to suggest a couple of things. I have a course called the Flow Dreaming Mastermind. It's a membership. It's not really a course. It's a membership. And each month we get together and I will be there live with you doing a full-on workshop about some aspect of your life that you're trying to manifest, grow, or break through. Not only that, but it comes with 36 courses and 45 flow dreams that are all accessible, instantly enrolled at your fingertips, including some fabulous ones such as Limitless, Be Seen, Be Authentic, and Go Big. Gorgeous course for growing your inner value and worth. Also, Money. Find the gold in your ideas. Another great course where you can take some of the value that you've already been giving out, maybe that you haven't assigned any sort of price tag on, and you can start finding what is the appropriate price tag and how does that feel? Beyond Fear, another fabulous course. It means breaking through any blocks that are getting in the way of growing this inner worth. Fruitful, abundant, and rich, learning to be a great receiver. Sometimes we give a ton of value to the world, but we can't receive anything back. There's a block. There's something that makes us feel bad, weird, guilty, or just not like we can't quite have that. That's asking too much. That's asking for more than we deserve. All of these courses, all of these flow dreams are going to help you on this path. If there's one single thing you can do this year, aside from perhaps some deep inner healing work, which we all need pretty constantly, I think this examination of our inner value and frankly, just kind of like ratcheting it up, just notch it up a few steps. It's probably one of the biggest and most valuable things you could actually do for yourself, for your family, and for the world. Personal growth for me is deeply humanitarian. It's odd because you think it's all about you and your value and making more for you. On the one hand, yeah, because you're growing and you're becoming the greater self that you are meant to become. But the more you do that, the better of a being you're giving back to the world. I would way rather be surrounded by people who are full of personal growth, high value, knowing what they give and giving in equal measure, than be surrounded by people who don't value themselves, who don't give a whole lot, right? Because I'm not getting the best of them. I want people who are committed to giving me the best of them, because that gives the best to the world. They make the most impact. They're the most loving, the most generous, They've got plenty of themselves to give. They're not just struggling to only get their own needs met. That's why personal growth is paramount. And that's why this value evaluation that we're doing, that's a mouthful. This value evaluation is really, really important today. So those are some great resources for you. I hope you take a peek at them. And again, many, many flow dreams and courses to support you on this. If you want to start flow dreaming to increase your value, again, just go to my website, flowdreaming.com, and I'll have a ton for you there to you can browse through. Look at the shop. I also open my doors at certain times to doing private sessions, especially introductory sessions. This is where we take a look at your life and I say, yeah, I will show you exactly what you need to work on, exactly what's getting in the way, exactly the untapped value in yourself that you haven't been able to see. One of my gifts is to be able to see it. And I'll show you what maybe you can't. So don't be afraid to book a session with me, and I will introduce you to this beautiful world of flow dreaming and really you and the interior of your life. All right, my darlings, with that, I'm going to skedaddle right now. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Flow Dreaming. Hope you loved it. Please don't forget to rate it or write a review wherever you're listening, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever. It does wonders. Plus, I read them, and it's like a little bit of sugar sprinkles on my day. So I thank you in advance for that. Lots of love to you all, and I'll see you next time for more flow dreaming, still kinda woo-woo. I love to work with you one-on-one. I get to see the most exponential growth in those of you who work with me privately every month. I'm part coach, part mentor, part energy worker, and intuitive. What I do is beyond traditional coaching in many ways, since I add in all kinds of information you wouldn't normally have access to. And the results speak for themselves. I have hundreds of glowing testimonials you can read for yourself at my website or just reach out and ask me. We began working together with an assessment of your life, what you want, and where you've been, where you're going. We focus deeply on patterns, blocks, and what you plan to achieve or become next within yourself and within your life. Last, we're going to carry your desires right into the heart of the universe by flow dreaming together as I lead you in every session with a personalized, customized flow dream. You're going to end up with dozens of these, plus a plan. Now you've got two options. You can either take me for a test run with an introductory private session, or we can just jump in and explore what a longer relationship working together would do for your life. Just visit flowdreaming.com, search for private sessions, and I really look forward to meeting you.